there are two types of traders in this game. The ones who read the tape and the ones who get read by it. Every move you make is written in those green and red flashes. Your hesitation, your conviction, your fear. The pros, well, they see it. They feel it. Today I'm going to show you how to see what they see. Some traders swear by level 2 in the tape. They can't trade without it. Others mock it. They call it noise. They claim charts tell you everything. But here's the truth. If you want to trade like a pro, you need to know who controls the tape, because that's who controls you. So let's decode it together. Not theory. We're actually going to look at some real action, real time, real orders, real power shifting hands. And by the end, you'll be able to look at the tape and instantly know who's bluffing and who's going to bulldoze. Here's the battlefield. You see the left side over here? That's the bid. It's the buyers, the support lines, the hope for this stock. The right side is the ask or the offer, the sellers, the resistance zones, the greed. The middle, these show the price and the size, where these two forces completely collide. Each color block is a player revealing or hiding their hand. But remember, most orders on the level 2, which is what we're looking at, are pretending. They're intent. They're not action. The truth behind everything lies in the time and sales window, the tape. That's where you see who actually pulled the trigger. We're going to use a little combination between looking at the interplay between the buyers, the sellers, and the tape. And then watch closely later when we hit 40.05 on the stock we're looking at, RGTI. You'll see how a stacked offer looks strong until it wasn't. Now, what's crazy and a little secret of traders who read the tape is we get the footprints of how the traders are trading the stock. For example, looking back at the chart, reading the chart from left to right, we can see that the buyers were passive, but sustained, and then they got aggressive. What was really happening there is telling us a story. There were sellers there. There are sellers here. The sellers were willing to sell everything above 40 and 40.05. That gave us so much information for later. Are those sellers aggressive? Are the buyers super aggressive? No, both are just kind of there. So the only way we actually get edge, the only way we get a trade that we can take is if we see an imbalance occur, an imbalance between the buyers and the sellers. We need to see a distinct change in the tape. We need to see one group let up. And in this case, we get it with the sellers lifting. The sellers are done for now. But here's the kicker. We only get confirmation when the buyers step above that price. And then later, we're going to see an example when the stock goes up to 40.50, and we're going to see what exactly is happening. It's the same thing. The same buyers are acting the same. The same sellers are acting the same way. Because of this pattern we've already observed between the interplay from the buyers to the sellers, we don't have to guess what to look for. We have a pattern. We saw the footprints of the players earlier, so we can just wait and let that opportunity show up for us. We can take that edge that's being offered again. So let's go back to this original breakout. The level 2 shows who intends to act. The tape shows who actually acts. Anybody can flash size on a level 2. You can put HFTs that spoof, you can put algos that bait, but the tape never lies because it records transactions that actually went through. So when you see those green prints hitting the ask over and over, that means the buyers are in control. When you see red prints smashing the bids, the sellers are trying to take over. Your job, don't just watch it, feel the shift. So this entire interplay, and we're watching the same thing over and over. At 40.05, these buyers are trying to push it up. At $40, the buyers are stacking. The tape shows the green prints firing through the ask. The momentum seems like it's going to ignite. That seller doesn't lift, so the buyers pull back a little bit. Has anybody really taken control? No. The tape is just moving up and down, but we have a defined level where the sellers are showing up and the buyers aren't going through quite yet. After that interplay plays out for a little bit, we see this moment where the prince posts green, sustained green. The offer lifts and control flips and the buyers stay in control. Once we get above 40.05, the buyers stay in control. One example gives us a good idea of what we're looking for. This example shows us how the buyers took control and then sustained control for a short period of time. We're actually going to see a second example, which is going to give us a clear look into this trade. Now let's take a look at this first one again. And now this time, post in the comments when you see it. Post the moment you actually see it about to break. This is going to be fun. It's going to be the moment you see it about to break. You're going to pause the video and you're going to post in the comments. Let's see who can see it the right way and who gets caught anticipating a little bit too much. Ready? Right there. You see that buyer lift through? You see the sellers completely annihilated? And then you see the buyer step up. You see that exact moment the shift happens. Remember the way this pattern plays out, because most traders are going to miss it. And then they're going to look at the candles and go, it's obvious what happened. But who controls the tape matters so much. And after we have the break, this is where most traders back off. And it's where market makers make it really hard. They really steal so much money from traders at this point. We say steal without hesitation because that's exactly what happens. You see the break, you see it clean, you see it clearly, you even get caught in it and immediately are rewarded. But then what happens? If it works just like this, great, no problems. And this one works, it's pretty clear. We have an edge and we have a stock to trade with that edge. The buyers lifting above that 40.05 gives us an opportunity. But the times when it doesn't work just like this, the times when it goes up and the buyers don't have clear and total control, we open the door to those pocket-picking market makers who take control of the stock, who can step in because there's no real buying stepping up to buy the stock after the break. There's no real control of the tape, and no control in a precarious spot can be so incredibly dangerous. The stock winds up whipping back and forth, back and forth. It frustrates the longs and it frustrates the shorts. That's what we saw before those buyers took control. What we're saying is there has to be a clear winner. This is the first rule of good reading the tape. The first objective of traders who read the tape. Figure out who is in control of the tape, buyers or sellers. Without the real control, we actually don't have edge. At any moment, either buyers or sellers can own the tape, but they don't always own the tape. It's actually rare for one group. Your mission is to spot when control changes hands and stay on the right side of that battle. When one group truly steps in, and when they do, we look for them to sustain control. But here's how you know who's really in charge. Let's take a look at this initial breakout again. Notice the speed of the prints increasing. The rapid green on the ask is the buyers pressing higher. You notice the absorption. You see the big bids getting hit and they're not moving. That means that's moving higher. It's strong support with a big order coming through. We have to watch for spoofing. Fake walls on level 2 that vanish right before the price tests them. And you can see it all the time. You'll see this big offer that looks like it's there, but then it never gets filled because it just completely evaporates. They pulled the offer, they let it go through. But the most important thing we're identifying here is the shift in dominance. When the flow of the tape changes color and speed together, that's the flip we're looking for. And then we can exit into that real acceleration. We just made a really nice, very clean tape scalp. That's what tape scalping is. It's recognizing a very clear opportunity. Tape reading isn't just about entries. It's about survival during uncertainties. When the prints slow down and the colors start to alternate, especially after a big acceleration. Now, you don't need to be a hero then. You just need to be a survivor. So that gives us our exit. And after we exit, we let the tape settle in and we look for that pattern from the buying we saw previously to set up again for us. What are we really thinking about? We just rinse and repeat what happened at that 40.05 level. It's just now happening at 40.50. This is the next time the bidders and sellers are in a battle. This is the time the bidders lift and then hold higher. We can get long here against 40.33, the low of that spike. But what we really need to be out would be anytime it gets below 40.38, just below where we saw that buying. If we're doing tape scalps, which this video is about tape scalps, our reason to exit would be just below where those buyers were, not necessarily all the way down to the wick. When the trade starts working, we just ride that 9 EMA. We just allow the price action to work for us, giving us this follow-through trade. We just noticed one pattern that we studied, and then we saw a completely similar pattern happen at a higher price. Guess what? That's what reading the tape at its best is. You're recognizing the interplay between the buyers and sellers at one spot. That trade works, you get a little reset, and then you see that same sort of interplay between the buyers and sellers at a higher price. Here's the move. Set alerts just below key bids or above key areas so you can avoid the tunnel vision and getting chopped up in the middle. We're not going to do anything when the tape loses its clarity. We're going to let the market prove itself. If you don't see that sustained control, don't commit sustained capital. Because the moment you see that hidden seller shows his hand, you'll know exactly why the pros wait. Imagine being caught in that chop. It's so frustrating, and then you feel rewarded right when it lifts. But if you can sidestep all that and just use that information to get involved when the moment shows up, you're going to really make a lot of money. Here's the truth most traders don't want to hear. Tape reading isn't a magic wand. It's actually a language. You don't learn it from a book. You learn it from screen time. Now, we created a brand new customized reading the tape course for the SMB Scalp Radar training because we feel traders need to get a huge jump start in their ability to read the tape because it could take weeks of watching, months of pattern recognition, and years of context to read the tape well. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can watch a tape and literally feel the momentum shifting before that candle even prints. So the next time you pull up a chart, don't just look at the latest bar and then start to read the tape. Watch who's controlling the tape beneath it. That's where the edge is. And most importantly, if you want to practice seeing the best moments to really zone in and read the tape, check out our video below. It shows you how we read the chart from left to right. So we can find the really key moments to zone in on the tape and find the edge. Now, stay sharp, stay curious, because the market rewards the traders who evolve the fastest.